Hey, hi, hello, and welcome back to class. I'm the History Wizard, and I have a master's degree in Holocaust and Genocide Studies. The word fascism has been thrown around a lot recently, so let's talk about what exactly that is. The dictionary defines fascism in a way that doesn't fucking matter. You shouldn't be using dictionaries to define complex political or legal terms anyway. So we're going to be using Umberto Eco's infamous essay, Fascism, written in 1995. In this essay, Eco describes the 14 characteristics of fascism, the first one being the cult of tradition. Anything worth knowing is already known, so there's no need to strive to learn and discover more things because the wisdom of the ancients will carry us through all of our struggles. Going hand in glove with this is a rejection of modernity. Now, this doesn't mean modern technology, but it does mean modern ideas. Classic Italian fascists virulently opposed the rationalist and humanist ideals of the Enlightenment. Fascism rely heavily on anti-intellectualism, acting without thought, and never questioning the things that you're told. There's the cult of action for action's sake, and disagreement is treason. If you dare question the will of the state or try and think about why things are happening the way that they're happening, one, it will very quickly fall apart and you'll find that there's no value in any fascist ideology, but two, you need to die. Our next two aspects of fascism rely on creating a culture war to distract you from the class war. The fifth one being a fear of differences, which very often takes the form of xenophobia around foreigners or immigrants coming to steal from you and destroy your way of life. And then number 6 is an appeal to a frustrated middle class, turning people who have a little bit and are maybe kind of comfortable against the lower classes to distract them from the fact that it's the upper classes that are fucking us both. Fascism needs an enemy. It needs to constantly be existing under an existential threat so that governments can justify taking emergency actions to protect themselves and you from this horrible monster. So there's always an obsession with a plot, and the enemy is always both superhumanly strong and somehow subhumanly weak. Our next characteristic of fascism is that pacifism is seen as weakness. There is an obsession with the military and with military strength and with fighting against this constant, eternal enemy that is always seeking to destroy the state. The next characteristic of fascism is a contempt for the weak. Not necessarily the physically weak, although there is an aspect of that. This is the supremacist ideology that makes up the core of all fascist regimes. As a member of the fascist state, you are inherently superior to anyone who falls outside of it. Full stop, end of story. The next characteristic of fascism is that it is quite simply a death cult. There's so much focus on action for action's sake, on having a strong, robust, overpoweringly strong military to protect you against an existential threat, that fascist regimes just feed their citizenry through a never-ending wood chipper in order to consolidate their hold on power. Next characteristic of fascism, Eco calls machismo, but if you read the description of it, it can simply be summed up as toxic masculinity and the patriarchy. 13th characteristic of fascism is selective populism. The leader of a fascist regime will constantly assure you that they represent the common will of the people. But how can you be so sure that that's what they're really doing? Because shut up and do what you're told. After all, disagreement is treason. And our 14th characteristic of fascism circles around once again to anti-intellectualism with newspeak. Fascist regimes will often employ limited or stunted vocabularies in order to limit critical thinking skills. You will find every single one of these characteristics in both the United States government and also the Israeli government. And as always, have a day.